In the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, where the horizon blurred into an endless canvas of blue, Lieutenant Alexander Kane stood watch on the deck of the USS Horizon. At 32, Alexander was a man forged by the sea, tall, with sun-kissed skin and eyes the color of stormy waves, reflecting the depths he had navigated since enlisting at 18. His name, whispered among his crewmates, evoked tales of quiet heroism. The sailor who had pulled a comrade from the jaws of a rogue wave during a typhoon off the coast of Japan, but beneath his stoic exterior lay a heart burdened by unspoken regrets. A life tethered to the Navy after losing his parents young, leaving him to raise his younger sister Sophia alone. Sophia Kane, with her cascading auburn hair and a spirit as fierce as the ocean winds, was the anchor in Alexander's turbulent world. At 25, she worked as a marine biologist in San Diego, her days filled with research on ocean conservation, a passion born from the stories her brother shared during his rare shore leaves. Their bond was unbreakable, woven from shared losses and dreams deferred. "Come home soon, Alex," she'd say in her letters, her words a lifeline amid the isolation of deployment. Little did she know that this voyage would test that bond like never before. It was a moonless night in late autumn when the storm hit. The USS Horizon, a guided missile destroyer on routine patrol, had been tracking a brewing cyclone for days. Warnings crackled over the radio, but the crew pressed on, duty-bound. Alexander, assigned to the forward deck, felt the first tremors as the ship crested a swelling wave. The wind howled like a vengeful spirit, whipping rain across his face in stinging sheets. Waves rose like colossal walls, crashing against the hull with thunderous force, sending sprays of foam skyward. "Secure the lines!" bellowed Captain Elias Thorne, a grizzled veteran whose voice cut through the chaos. Alexander nodded, his gloved hands gripping the railing as he moved toward the bow. The deck pitched violently, slick with seawater, and each step was a battle against gravity. His mind flashed to Sophia, her last email, filled with excitement about a new coral reef project. "I miss our beach walks," she'd written. "Promise you'll teach me to sail when you're back." He clenched his jaw, pushing the thought aside. Focus was survival's currency here. As the ship plunged into a trough, a monstrous wave reared up, towering at least 40 feet, its crest curling like a predator's claw. The horizon shuddered, alarms blaring as water flooded the deck. Alexander lunged for a loose mooring line, his boot slipping on the wet metal. Time slowed. His foot caught on a hatch edge, and in that split second the world tilted. He felt the pull, the inexorable drag toward the abyss. His hands flailed, grasping at air, then metal. But the wave's force was merciless. It yanked him overboard, his body slamming against the railing before dangling precariously over the roiling sea. "Man overboard!" The cry echoed from the bridge, but the storm swallowed it. Alexander's fingers burned as he clung to the edge, salt water filling his mouth, his lungs screaming for air. Below him, the waves churned like a living entity, hungry and unforgiving. Memories flooded his mind, his parents' fatal car accident, leaving him and Sophia orphaned. His decision to join the Navy to provide for her, the nights he'd spent staring at the stars from the deck, wondering if this life was worth the solitude. In that moment of peril, Alexander's thoughts crystallized on Sophia. He pictured her face, her warm smile, the way her eyes lit up when he returned from sea. "I can't leave her," he whispered into the gale. With a surge of adrenaline, he swung his leg up, hooking it over the railing. Muscles straining, he pulled himself back aboard, collapsing onto the deck as another wave crashed harmlessly behind him. Crewmates rushed to his side, hauling him to safety amid shouts of relief. But the storm was far from over. As the horizon battled through the night, Alexander lay in his bunk, battered and bruised, his body aching but his spirit unbroken. He pulled out a crumpled photo from his pocket, him and Sophia on a sunny pier, arms around each other. "I almost slipped away," he murmured, the words heavy with the weight of what could have been. Little did he know this near miss was merely the prelude to a greater trial, one that would force him to confront the fragility of life and the power of unbreakable bonds. Dawn broke over a calmer sea, the storm's remnants scattering like defeated foes. The USS Horizon limped toward port, its crew weary but alive. Alexander, bandaged and reflective, stood at the stern, gazing at the receding waves. The incident had shaken him profoundly, stirring doubts he'd long suppressed. Was this endless cycle of deployments worth the risk? Sophia's voice echoed in his mind, her pleas for him to retire growing louder with each tour. Back in San Diego, Sophia paced her small apartment overlooking the bay. News of the storm had reached the mainland via urgent Navy alerts, and her heart had seized with fear. "Alex," she whispered to the empty room, clutching her phone. When the call finally came from Captain Thorne himself, relief washed over her like a gentle tide. "He's safe, Miss Kane, a close call. But your brother's a fighter." Tears streamed down her face as she sank onto the couch, the photo of them on the pier mirroring the one Alexander carried. Weeks later, Alexander stepped off the gangplank onto solid ground, his duffel bag slung over his shoulder. Sophia was there waiting amid the throng of families, her eyes searching until they locked on his. She ran into his arms, burying her face in his uniform. "You almost slipped away from me," she said, her voice muffled, echoing his own thoughts from that fateful night. They drove to their favorite beach, the one where they'd scattered their parents' ashes years ago. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. Sitting on the sand, Alexander recounted the ordeal. The waves roar. The slip, the desperate cling to life. "It felt like the sea was claiming me. Soph, but I thought of you and I fought back." Sophia listened, her hand in his, then shared her own storm. "While you were out there, I got the results from my doctor's visit. It's cancer, Alex, early stage, but I need you here." The words hung heavy, a new wave crashing over them. Alexander's world tilted again, not from high seas, but from the fragility of land-bound life. He pulled her close, vowing silently to never let go. In the months that followed, Alexander requested a shore assignment, trading the deck for a training role at the naval base. He became Sophia's rock through chemotherapy, their roles reversing as he held her hand during treatments, just as she'd supported him through his deployments. They sailed together on calm weekends, her laughter mingling with the gentle lapping of waves. Far cry from the fury he'd faced. One evening, as they watched the sunset from their beach, Alexander turned to her. "That night on the ship, I realized something. The sea isn't my master anymore. You are my anchor, Soph. I almost slipped, but it brought me back to what's real." Sophia smiled, her strength shining through despite the toll of illness. "And you're mine, Alex. We've weathered storms before. We'll weather this one too." Their story became a testament to resilience, not just against nature's wrath, but against life's unforeseen tempests. Alexander Kane, the sailor who defied the waves, found his true victory on shore, in the quiet power of love and family. The ocean still called to him in dreams, but now with Sophia by his side, he answered with the certainty of a man who had stared into the abyss and chosen life. In the end, the high waves that nearly claimed him had, in a twist of fate, saved him, pushing him toward the harbor of home, where hearts mended and bonds deepened. And as the stars emerged over the Pacific, Alexander knew true power lay not in conquering the sea, but in holding fast to those who made the journey worthwhile.